Today, we're diving deep into a topic that I guarantee will challenge some of your fundamental assumptions about comfort, self-reliance, and what's truly possible when you step away from the grid. We're going to explore how the Amish, yes, the Amish, heat their greenhouses without a single watt of electricity or a puff of natural gas. It's a fascinating blend of ingenuity, tradition, and a profound understanding of natural principles. And trust me, by the end of this, you might just be looking at your own utility bills a little differently. This isn't just about growing plants, it's about a way of life, a philosophy that prioritizes resilience and community over convenience and constant consumption. Have you ever really considered what it means to be truly independent from modern infrastructure?
All right, let's get into it. When most of us think about heating a greenhouse, our minds immediately jump to electric heaters, propane furnaces, or maybe even elaborate geothermal systems. We picture thermostats, sensors, and a whole lot of wiring. But the Amish, as you probably know, operate on a different wavelength entirely. Their rejection of modern technology isn't about being primitive. It's a deliberate choice rooted in their faith and their desire to maintain a close-knit, self-sufficient community. Because of this philosophy, when winter winds howl and temperatures plummet, they can't just flip a switch to keep their tomatoes thriving. This presents a unique challenge, but also sparks incredible innovation, often drawing on methods that have been around for centuries, long before the advent of central heating. One of the foundational principles in Amish greenhouse heating is passive solar design. This isn't some high-tech secret. It's an ancient understanding of how the sun works. They orient their greenhouses to maximize sunlight exposure, typically running them east to west. Because of this careful placement, the long side of the greenhouse faces directly south, soaking up as much of that precious low winter sun as possible. This seems simple, right? But it's a critical first step. It's about working with nature, not against it. That's why you won't see Amish greenhouses tucked away in a shady corner. Every detail, from the angle of the roof to the materials used, is considered to harness the sun's energy. And this passive approach extends beyond just orientation. Another key element they utilize is thermal mass. Think of it like a natural battery for heat. During the day, as the sun pours into the greenhouse, various materials inside absorb that solar energy. Then, as evening falls and temperatures drop, these materials slowly release the stored heat, helping to moderate the internal temperature and prevent a drastic freeze. This is incredibly effective because it smooths out the temperature fluctuations. You might be wondering what kind of materials they use for this. Well, it's often incredibly simple, everyday items. Because of this reliance on readily available resources, they often employ things like large water barrels painted black, which are excellent at absorbing and radiating heat. Rocks, concrete, or even thick earthen floors can serve this purpose. The larger the thermal mass, the more heat can be stored, creating a much more stable environment for delicate plants. This approach highlights their pragmatic use of what's at hand, a common thread in their self-sufficiency.
But what about those really cold nights, when passive solar and thermal mass just aren't enough? This is where their ingenious active heating methods come into play, still without electricity or gas. One of the most common and effective solutions you'll find in an Amish greenhouse is a wood-fired stove or a masonry heater. But this isn't just any old wood stove. These are often custom-built, highly efficient units designed to burn wood slowly and effectively, radiating heat for extended periods. Because of their design, they require less frequent stoking compared to a conventional stove, which is crucial for maintaining warmth overnight without constant attention. This shows a deep understanding of combustion and heat transfer, honed over generations. Think about the sheer amount of work involved. Firewood isn't just purchased, it's harvested, split, and stacked by hand, often as a community effort. This task isn't just about fuel, it's a social ritual, a way of bonding and teaching younger generations the value of hard work and preparation. Because of this collective effort, the firewood supply for a whole season is secured, reinforcing community ties. This isn't merely about burning wood, it's about the entire process, from forest to furnace, all done with a sense of purpose and cooperation that's increasingly rare in our modern, individualized world. And this connection to the land, to the resources around them, is fundamental to their approach. But just a stove isn't enough. The heat needs to be distributed. That's where a system of pipes often comes into play. These aren't fancy, insulated ductwork like you'd see in a modern home. Instead, they're typically simple metal pipes, sometimes even repurposed materials, that snake through the greenhouse, often laid beneath the planting beds or along the perimeter. As the fire in the stove heats water or air, that warmth circulates through these pipes. Because of this clever distribution, the heat isn't concentrated in one spot, but radiates throughout the entire structure, warming the soil directly and creating a more uniform temperature. This underbench or undersoil heating is particularly effective for plants, as it mimics the natural warmth of the earth, promoting healthy root development. It's a low-tech radiant heating system, incredibly effective and completely independent of external power.
Another ingenious method they employ, especially for very specific heating needs, is the use of compost. Yes, you heard that right. Compost. A large, actively decomposing compost pile generates a significant amount of heat as microorganisms break down organic matter. Because of this natural biological process, a well-managed compost heap can reach temperatures of 140 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit internally. Amish farmers will sometimes integrate these hot compost piles directly into their greenhouse design, perhaps placing them in a sheltered area just outside the greenhouse walls, or even building a large, actively managed pile directly inside a section of the greenhouse. The heat generated slowly radiates into the growing space, providing a gentle, consistent warmth, particularly to the soil. This isn't just heating, it's also about creating rich, fertile soil, turning a waste product into a valuable resource. It's a multifunctional approach reflecting their deep respect for the land and their commitment to sustainable practices. This integration of compost heating is a perfect example of their holistic approach to farming. It's not just about one problem, but how multiple solutions can interlock to create a robust, resilient system. Because of this integrated thinking, they're not just heating, they're enriching soil, reducing waste, and fostering a productive ecosystem. This contrasts sharply with many modern agricultural methods that rely on external inputs and specialized equipment for each function. The Amish way demonstrates that sometimes the simplest, most natural solutions are also the most elegant and effective. But managing a greenhouse is more than just heat. It's also about controlling moisture and ventilation. Ventilation is another area where Amish greenhouses showcase their low-tech ingenuity. Without electric fans or automated systems, they rely on carefully designed vents and simple manual operation. Because of this reliance on natural airflow, greenhouse designs often incorporate ridge vents at the peak and side vents along the base. Hot air rises, so the warm, stale air escapes through the ridge vents, drawing in cooler, fresher air through the lower vents. This creates a natural convection current, circulating air and preventing excessive humidity buildup, which can lead to plant diseases. It's a delicate balance, requiring an observant eye and a practiced hand to know when and how much to open and close these vents, responding to the day's temperature and humidity. This isn't just about mechanics, it's about a farmer's intuitive understanding of their environment, a skill honed over decades. And this manual operation extends to every aspect.
There are no automated systems to open vents when it gets too hot or close them when it's too cold. It's all done by hand, often by family members working together. Because of this constant vigilance and active participation, the greenhouse becomes a living extension of their home, requiring continuous interaction and care. It's a responsibility that fosters a deep connection to the plants and the growing process. This daily interaction reinforces community and family values, contrasting with modern automation, which can sometimes distance us from the very tasks we aim to accomplish. But beyond the physical mechanisms, there's a powerful underlying philosophy at play. The Amish approach to heating a greenhouse is deeply rooted in their core values. They prioritize simplicity, self-sufficiency, and community. Because of this commitment to their values, they intentionally limit their reliance on external systems and technologies. This isn't just about practical solutions, it's about a spiritual and cultural conviction. They believe in living in harmony with nature, being good stewards of the land, and fostering strong family and community bonds. When a family needs a new greenhouse or help maintaining an existing one, the entire community often pitches in. Because of this collaborative spirit, the burden is shared, and knowledge is passed down through generations, strengthening their collective resilience. This communal aspect is truly remarkable. Imagine needing to gather enough firewood to heat a large greenhouse through a harsh winter. For an individual family, that could be an overwhelming task. But in an Amish community, it becomes a shared endeavor, a frolic, as they might call it, where neighbors come together to help one another. Because of this deeply ingrained spirit of mutual aid, what might seem impossible to an individual becomes entirely achievable for the community. This isn't just about efficiency, it's about strengthening the social fabric, reinforcing their identity, and ensuring that no one is left to struggle alone. This communal work ethic stands in stark contrast to the often isolated and competitive nature of modern life. Their philosophy of work also plays a significant role. For the Amish, work is not merely a means to an end, it is an integral part of life, a form of worship, and a way to contribute to the community. Because of this profound respect for labor, the effort involved in manually heating a greenhouse, tending the fire, managing the vents, splitting the wood, is seen not as a chore, but as a meaningful activity. It connects them directly to the food they grow and the resources they use. This direct engagement fosters a deeper appreciation for the cycles of nature and the bounty of the earth, something often lost when tasks are outsourced or automated. Have you ever felt that disconnect when you buy produce from a supermarket compared to growing it yourself? This connection with nature is another cornerstone. They live closely with the rhythms of the seasons, understanding the nuances of weather patterns and how they affect their crops. Because of this intimate knowledge of their environment, they can anticipate changes and adapt their greenhouse management accordingly. They observe the sun's path, the direction of the wind, and the signs of approaching cold fronts, all without the aid of weather apps or satellite forecasts. This intuitive wisdom, passed down through generations, is a powerful tool for self-reliance. It's a knowledge that comes from living close to the land, day in and day out, rather than relying solely on abstract data. Consider a typical modern gardener with a greenhouse. They might have automated heating, ventilation, and irrigation systems, all controlled by a smartphone app. If there's a power outage or an internet disruption, their entire system can grind to a halt. Because of this reliance on external infrastructure, they are vulnerable to disruptions beyond their control. Now, contrast that with the Amish approach. If the power goes out, it makes no difference to their greenhouse. If the internet crashes, their wood stove still burns, and their manual vents still open and close.
Because of this fundamental difference in approach, the Amish demonstrate a remarkable resilience and self-sufficiency that many in the modern world are striving to rediscover. It's a powerful lesson in robustness. Their greenhouses aren't just for survival, they're often highly productive, allowing them to extend their growing season significantly, providing fresh produce for their families and communities even in the depths of winter. Because of this extended season, they can maintain a more varied and nutritious diet year-round, reducing their reliance on commercially produced, often distant, food sources. This aligns with their commitment to healthy, wholesome living and their desire to provide for themselves from their own land. This commitment to local, seasonal food is another aspect where their traditional practices offer valuable insights for modern sustainable living movements. But the benefits extend beyond just food. The greenhouse itself often becomes a focal point of family activity, especially during the colder months. Children learn alongside their parents, understanding the cycles of growth, the importance of patience, and the value of hard work. Because of this hands-on learning, skills and traditions are naturally transmitted from one generation to the next, ensuring the continuity of their way of life. It's an educational environment that fosters practical skills, a strong ethic of work, and a deep appreciation for nature, lessons that are often missing in formal education today. This isn't just about growing plants, it's about growing people. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds like a lot of work, and you'd be right, it is a lot of work. But for the Amish, that work has a different meaning. It's not a burden to be avoided, but a blessed part of life, a way to connect with God's creation and to contribute to their community. Because of this perspective, they find fulfillment in the labor itself, in the tangible results of their efforts, and in the shared experience with family and neighbors. This starkly contrasts with the modern pursuit of leisure and automation, where work is often seen as a necessary evil to be minimized. The Amish remind us that there can be profound satisfaction and meaning in honest physical labor. Let's delve a little deeper into the specific mechanics of some of these heating systems. When we talk about wood-fired heaters, we're not just talking about an open fireplace. Many Amish communities utilize designs that are incredibly efficient. Some employ rocket mass heaters, for instance. Because of their unique design, rocket mass heaters burn wood very hot and fast, achieving almost complete combusting, which means less smoke and more heat from less fuel. The hot exhaust gases then travel through a long pipe embedded in a thermal mass bench, usually made of cob or masonry, slowly releasing heat into the greenhouse for many hours after the fire has died down. This is an ingenious application of physics, turning what would otherwise be wasted heat into long-lasting warmth. This level of efficiency is something modern homesteaders are increasingly adopting, learning directly from traditional methods. This blend of ancient wisdom and practical engineering is a hallmark of their approach. They're not afraid to innovate, but their innovations are always grounded in practicality, sustainability, and independence. Because of this focus, their solutions are inherently robust and require minimal external inputs. They aren't tied to supply chains for complex parts or to the fluctuations of energy markets. This gives them a remarkable level of control over their own food production and their energy needs, a stark contrast to our highly interconnected and often vulnerable modern systems. It's a powerful lesson in resilience, wouldn't you agree? Another clever use of water as thermal mass can involve not just barrels but also large underground water tanks or even ponds integrated into the greenhouse structure. Because of this large volume of water, it heats up slowly during the day and cools down slowly at night, effectively buffering temperature swings. Some even incorporate passive solar water heaters, where sunlight directly heats water in pipes or panels that then circulate through the greenhouse. Again, no pumps,
No electricity, just gravity and natural convection doing the work. This ingenious use of basic principles showcases a deep understanding of thermodynamics applied with elegant simplicity.
And let's not forget the role of moisture management. Heating a greenhouse, especially with wood, can sometimes dry out the air, but the Amish are adept at maintaining optimal humidity levels. Because of this careful balance, they often incorporate methods like wetting down paths or even using a layer of damp straw or wood chips as ground cover, which slowly releases moisture into the air. This not only helps with humidity, but also acts as an additional layer of insulation, and, in some cases, even contributes to soil warming as it slowly decomposes. It's another example of multifunctional design, where one solution addresses several needs simultaneously. This thoughtful approach minimizes waste and maximizes utility. Think about the implications of this lifestyle for a moment. In a world increasingly reliant on fragile global supply chains and volatile energy markets, the Amish stand as a powerful example of what true self-reliance looks like. Their ability to provide food for themselves, heat their homes and greenhouses, and maintain their way of life without being beholden to external systems offers invaluable lessons for anyone interested in preparedness, sustainability, or simply living a more intentional life. Because of this independence, they possess a sense of freedom that many of us, despite all our modern conveniences, often lack. They are masters of their own destiny in a way that is truly inspiring. The sense of community that underpins all of this cannot be overstated. When a family faces a challenge, whether it's building a greenhouse, harvesting crops, or simply needing assistance, the community rallies around them. Because of this powerful network of mutual support, individual struggles are transformed into shared efforts, reinforcing bonds and strengthening the collective well-being. This stands in contrast to the often isolated nature of modern households, where individuals are expected to solve complex problems largely on their own. The Amish remind us of the immense power and resilience inherent in a truly connected community. This deep-seated connection to each other and to the land fosters a profound sense of gratitude and stewardship. They understand that their ability to thrive is directly linked to the health of their environment and the strength of their relationships. Because of this awareness, they approach farming and resource management with a long-term perspective, thinking not just about the immediate yield, but about preserving the land and their traditions for future generations. This intergenerational outlook is a powerful antidote to the short-term thinking that often dominates modern society. It's a philosophy that ensures continuity and sustainability, a true legacy. Consider the story of an Amish farmer named Jacob. One particularly harsh winter, an unexpected cold snap hit, threatening his newly planted lettuce and spinach in the greenhouse. The thermal mass and wood stove were doing their job, but the temperatures were plummeting faster than anticipated. Because of this sudden and severe drop, Jacob quickly realized he needed more heat. He didn't have an emergency generator or backup electric heaters. Instead, he called on his neighbors. Within hours, several families arrived not just to offer sympathy, but to bring extra armloads of dried manure from their barns. They quickly built small, contained piles within strategic areas of the greenhouse. Because of this ingenious and rapid response, the manure piles, as they began to decompose, generated just enough additional heat to carry the plants through the coldest part of the night. It was a testament not only to their resourcefulness, but to the incredible strength of their community. This isn't just about technical solutions. It's about a collective spirit that faces challenges together. This story really encapsulates the spirit of the Amish approach: quick thinking, community cooperation, and leveraging natural processes. They don't panic when faced with adversity because they have a lifetime of experience in adapting and innovating with what they have. Because of this deeply ingrained resilience, they are rarely caught unprepared.
And when they are, their community acts as their ultimate safety net. This ability to adapt and respond without relying on external, often fragile systems is a powerful lesson for us all in an increasingly unpredictable world.
The contrast with modern solutions couldn't be starker. We often chase the latest gadget, the most automated system, believing the technology will solve all our problems. But as the Amish demonstrate, true resilience often lies in simplicity, in understanding fundamental principles, and in the strength of human connection. Because of this divergence in philosophy, they offer a powerful counter-narrative, showing us that there are other paths to prosperity and well-being, paths that prioritize independence and community over convenience and consumption. It's a reminder that sometimes the old ways truly are the best ways, or at least offer profound insights into what truly matters. Their commitment to a simpler life also frees them from many of the anxieties and stresses that plague modern society. Without the constant pressure to keep up with the latest technology, to maintain a certain level of material wealth, or to navigate the complexities of digital life, they can focus on what they deem truly important: faith, family, community, and honest work. Because of this intentional detachment, they cultivate a sense of peace and contentment that is increasingly rare in our hyper-connected world. It's a profound lesson in prioritizing values over fleeting trends, a practice that contributes to their overall well-being. So what can we take away from this? While most of us aren't going to dismantle our electrical grids or completely eschew modern technology, the Amish offer valuable insights. We can learn from their emphasis on passive solar design, integrating thermal mass into our homes and gardens, and exploring alternative renewable heating methods. We can also learn from their spirit of community, their dedication to self-sufficiency, and their deep respect for nature. Because of this rich tapestry of wisdom, their methods transcend mere technique. They offer a blueprint for a more resilient, connected, and intentional way of living. It's about building systems that are robust, sustainable, and deeply rooted in local resources and community effort. The next time you're thinking about heating your home or your greenhouse, or even just planting your garden, consider the principles the Amish employ. How can you work more with nature instead of against it? How can you utilize local resources and reduce your reliance on external systems? How can you foster a greater sense of community and shared effort in your own life? Because of this inspirational example, we're reminded that there are always alternatives, always simpler, more sustainable ways to achieve our goals. And often, those ways lead not just to practical solutions, but to a richer, more meaningful life. It's truly remarkable how much warmth and life can be sustained with nothing more than sunlight, wood, water, and human ingenuity, all fueled by a strong community spirit and a deep reverence for the natural world. This isn't just about keeping plants from freezing, it's about cultivating a thriving existence, independent and resilient, deeply connected to the earth and each other. And that, I think, is a lesson we all can benefit from, regardless of our own lifestyles or beliefs. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes less truly is more, especially when that less is built on strong foundations of knowledge, community, and respect for our environment. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.